All right, and we're back again. And for those that don't know, this would be 2 in 2 days. We're on an absolute roll. I, once again, am Matt. This is Josh.
Yeah, I am here again.
And it's still Lewis.
It's 2 in 3 days.
2 in 3 days, fine. Yeah, sorry. I math. I really math. I do math well.
I don't.
You can tell. You don't, and yet you're taking a degree in it.
It's a weird experience when people ask me at the time, when I'm at like family gatherings and stuff, like, you do maths, what's X times Y or whatever, right? And I sit there go, I don't know. Use a calculator?
Well, there's a famous graph, isn't there, between experience and knowledge, where as you start a subject, you start having your knowledge increased, and then it's like what is it? It's like
like how much you think you know versus how much you actually know.
Yeah, incarnated himself. It's perceived knowledge, not actual knowledge.
Okay, perceived knowledge. Sorry, that was it. Yeah, because like you start thinking that you know quite a lot, then you realise that you know nothing, and then you build up from there.
Yeah.
So, just to correct Matt here, you start off knowing nothing. If you know a very small amount, you're at your highest in confidence. It then slowly decreases up to down to an asymptote, I guess, where it will then start increasing again. So,
yeah, something
it's
like
temporary.
That.
You have to know quite a lot at that point to get to that.
Yeah, you have to
point,
have
though.
a reasonable amount of experience for that to be valid.
Once again, talking about things as if we know them, but really we know nothing. We're getting pretty good at that.
Yeah,
How dare you? I'm an expert in my field of video games.
That's your field now.
I could probably,
self-proclaimed.
I could talk about video games for like weeks.
Yeah, I know.
That's essentially what we've been doing.
This thing. I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't played anything between these two podcasts. I haven't got some like thesis statement to like start with this week.
This week.
You don't have to have a thesis statement for each.
I like having a thesis
one.
statement. It's how I get to vent about my problems with video games. If I don't do that, I'm now just like.
Why not vent about how about a video game that you like that isn't The Witcher?
I don't have many video games that I like that aren't The Witcher.
Oh, you have one game that you like.
I like one game. I got some suggestions though for video games. I can give. Yeah, because I've been playing a lot of it. It's a nice little arcade game. It's called Nova Drift.
Nova Drift.
It's kind of like
I don't think I know that.
Asteroids. If asteroids had level ups and gun changes.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's very fun. It's frustratingly hard at points. The control scheme is inherently unintuitive because it's based off of asteroids. Like 4 out of 10 would recommend. No, 4 out of 5 would recommend. 7 out of 10.
Okay.
These are okay. Sure.
That's it for the week. I think. I don't think I have anything else.
Right. Well, that's us. That's us finished. But
this has been reconnected.
This episode is
what's it gonna be called? The Silence.
No, we'll call it Nova Drift. It'll be a big video game recommendation.
Yeah. Right. Sure. Endorsement. I assume a paid endorsement. Is that our week's sponsor?
Do you think that I am so without moral and without integrity?
Yeah. Whatever you're going to finish that sentence with.
That
yes.
I would, blindly praise a game like Raid Shadow Legends.
I don't think you understand. That is a truly great game.
It's revolutionary, guys.
Why would so many people be talking
spellbinding.
about it?
So I'm not too concerned about not getting a Raid sponsor because, by the time anyone sees this podcast, Raid will be out of the public consciousness and it'll be like the next one.
Yeah, because it'll probably be like 2 or 3 years from now.
Yeah, so I'm not too concerned. Have you actually seen gameplay of Raid?
I have not.
Only from the advert itself.
It's essentially an idle game that doesn't present itself as an idle game.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought it was like an RTS kind of thing.
No,
that's
not
what
even
I thought
remotely.
it was.
It's basically a battler where you go to a battle location and you battle an enemy, and then you get loot from the enemy. And you can buy new loot and upgrade your guys, your dudes. And then at a certain point, you're on auto battling. At which point, the game plays itself, and unlike an idle game, it isn't built around that fact.
Yeah.
So it's still built around microtransactions.
I was going to say, yeah, I assume microtransactions were a part of it.
But it brings me into a nice, neat little bubble, which is Josh. You have an idle game recommendation, do you not?
It's been fun.
What game is this?
I was going to say, yeah, Josh, if you're going to talk about it, you might want to name it first.
You say I have a recommendation. This is really your recommendation.
I love this game. The game is called NGU Idle. It's the best idle game I've ever played.
Okay, I haven't.
It's pretty good.
10 out of 10. You say you haven't heard of it. I think I've brought this up like 3 times to you. And every time you say,
really?
I haven't heard of this. And then I say, oh, it's on Steam. You should give it a go. And I'm like, I'm going to give it a go. And then you don't give it a go.
It sounds about right.
What was it called again?
NGU Idle. Numbers going up idle.
NGU.
Oh, is that what
Idle.
it stands for?
Yeah,
never
it says
knew.
that on the NGU section. Hey, that's the name of the game.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen
Which
that.
title, isn't it?
No, it's a great title.
Okay,
It's
what's
such
it
a
about, then?
memey game. It has a plot. The plot is kind of okay, but not great, but it's funny.
Sorry, this is an Android app game that has a plot.
This isn't an Android game. This is a Steam game.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about the Android games.
They should definitely make an Android version.
You are aware how many menus this game has, right?
Yeah. That wouldn't be too bad, would it? Like, it would be essentially the same thing, because it's just pointing and
There's
clicking.
18 menus.
Yeah. Okay.
It's true.
It's on the main screen. There are sub-menus in there.
Yeah. I don't know, I'd just be... Since, given the type of game it is, I'd like the
It's
ability
free
to
to
just be able
play.
to look at it on my phone instead of having to have it open on my desktop.
This would be the most frustrating game in the world to play on your phone, I think.
Oh, wait, hang on.
It would take a lot of
I've
redesign
seen you play this.
Of the UI.
Yeah, you've seen me play this. Because I'm flexing on Josh when I show him things. For example, Josh, what is your adventure stat currently at?
327,000 power, 168,000 toughness.
Big numbers.
Yeah.
No,
What are
it's going to
yours?
absolutely yeet you out of the water, I bet.
Josh,
Yeah.
I'm put that in scientific so that we can really understand the distance and numbers.
Yeah, sure. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so... Oh, well, it's just the same,
Is
I
it?
guess. Well, it's just playing it as the same, but it's only... I guess that would be... 10 to the... Well, sorry, 3.27 times 10 to the 5.
Good numbers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
What do you
I don't
want?
think I need to. It's
Do you not?
8.302e plus, which is sorry. Let's try this again. 8.0. No. I publicly speak every week, and I'm just mucking this up.
Yeah.
You
I got
English very well
8.3
right now, don't you?
Times 10 to the 21.
To the 21.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then. That's much more.
So I can now talk about this game for an eon, right? I'm allowed to?
Sure.
Because no one else
I
brought
guess.
anything this week.
No.
Because we haven't had time to sit and dwell. So
Yeah.
welcome
I
to
mean,
the...
because that's what we do. That's what we do. We sit down and dwell on things. Actually, no, I did have one thing that I might have been curious to see what your answer was.
We'll do it after we do 2 hours of NGU Idle.
Oh my god, 2 hours.
I was just going to ask about so one of the modules in my history course here in Canada that I'm taking is basically a British history module, but it's interesting because it's obviously being taught in Canada, and basically
You mean
the
correctly?
correctly. So the first lecture we had, although it wasn't really a lecture, basically was the class looking at what we thought about when we thought of Britain. and I was basically the only British person in the classroom. So I was curious what you two think about when you immediately think of Britain.
I don't want to get political on the podcast, so I'd rather
You don't have to get political.
Well, you kind of do.
That's just your natural state of being.
Well, it might be Brexit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, apart from Brexit.
I think of the color grey. I think of rain, and I think of nothing happening in
It's
Parliament.
just the weather.
Yeah.
I've never met a country in my life, or people of a country in my life, that talk about the weather like we do.
Yeah, why would you?
We're just fixated on it.
Because nothing happens. And when something happens, it's interesting.
And it's usually terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never usually a good thing. It's either too hot, or it's too cold, or it's too
That
miserable.
reminds me, it flipping flooded in the park near us.
Did it?
Lewis, do you remember that, or Matt as well?
No, Matt's never been to Castle Park.
Yeah. Have you?
Wait, did he just de-dox us?
No, it's
Castle Park. I mean, yeah, it's not. There's got to be lots of places.
Did you say like D-Docs?
Did I say de-dox? I didn't mean de-dox.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
He's mangling DDoS and docs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. DDoS.
Yeah, I didn't mean DDoS. That's the
Which
totally
I think
different
is
thing.
distributed denial of service.
Yeah, which is like
Or
online.
dedicated denial of service.
Okay, but
Anyway, sorry, docs. I meant docs. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, continue.
There are hundreds of Castle Parks.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sure,
it's
there
fine.
are.
But
Anyway.
like at the bottom of Castle Park, like ages ago, like 10 years ago or something. Actually, it might be more than that. But Castle Park flooded because there were like insufficient water barriers on the river.
I mean, yeah, the river's been like neglected for years.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, they haven't done anything about it for absolutely ages.
Well, no, they did do something when it happened, like when it flooded before.
So 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and they haven't done anything since.
Well, no, they did do something. They built a wall.
You hear
Like,
that,
on the-
Lewis? They built a
it's-
wall.
Yeah, it worked for Britain. It worked for keeping the water up.
To be fair, Britain didn't have to build a wall.
No, we need a wall. We need a wall around
there's-
Britain.
There's only been one famous wall in Britain, if you ignore like some of the old Roman walls that are floating about in some towns. Which is Hadrian's Wall.
I was going to say, yeah, Hadrian's Wall, yeah.
And that's it. That's the only wall I can think of any importance, like on this side of the world. Frankly,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Berlin
there's
Wall isn't a real thing anymore. It doesn't count.
Well, yeah, Berlin's Wall, and then there's also the Great Wall of China.
Is that on
Yeah.
this side of the world?
No.
Exactly. And I'd like to point out
Hadrian's
let's
Wall.
always know if I choose the correct dividing of the world. The world's a sphere, so provided I get England in, I can sort of pick and choose.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, in some ways I can say it is, because it is in the northern hemisphere, right?
It's what?
The Great Wall, which is in the northern hemisphere.
The Great Wall of China is, I believe, in the Northern Hemisphere, yeah.
So if I pick the top half, it is in the same hemisphere.
Sure. Yes. China and England, or China and the UK are both in the Northern Hemisphere, but they're not in the
Like,
East-West
you're being
Hemisphere.
too specific. They're in the same hemisphere.
Okay, fine. They're in the North. They're both in the North Hemisphere, yeah.
No, they're in the same hemisphere. Do not specify which one.
Okay, fine. They're in the same hemisphere, yes.
I'm trying to deceive people here, Matt. I don't need like your specifics to make my data seem correct. Let me skew it how I need to.
Spoken like a true scholarly academic there.
Well, I'm a kind of an academic. I sit on 3 thesis points, which is that Dark Souls has no story, The Witcher's third act is kind of garbage, and I think that my third one is those two combined. I don't have much else. That's my
Really?
academic proposal here.
What about Halo?
Oh, Halo's pretty alright, but that's not a thesis statement.
Okay, fine. But I thought you had a thesis statement about Cat.
oh, she's garbage, but that's not. I mean, like, I could write a dissertation on why Cat is the worst character in Halo Reach, but like,
I feel like that would be quite difficult.
it would. She does like nothing. She has like no background.
The thing
She's
is, though, Lewis doesn't have much of a feeling or thought towards everyone else on Noble Team. It's just Cat.
She's just annoying. She says a lot of like worthless statements. George goes out like a hero.
He's also the first one to go, isn't he?
Yeah, but, you know, like a hero.
Yeah, I think he was the first to go. Yeah. So
Right,
yeah,
and
to be
then-
fair, it's a pretty cool way. Yeah.
Frankly, Kat's the only one who didn't go out like a hero.
Well, I think the plot device behind her death was to have it be shocking and out of nowhere.
Well, it was certainly shocking. It made the game infinitely better.
Ha
Wasn't that bad. Kat is, and I'm gonna be polite here. Kat is the best NPC to have with you on Lasso.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She soaks damage like anything. And you
What,
need
don't-
her on
don't
those
the
levels.
others?
Well, they're not. They're in levels that they're hindrances. Like in Nightfall, Emil starts shooting like a madman, and you don't want him to. You want a stealth.
Okay.
That's Halo.
That's Halo,
I
folks.
do have some points about Halo, but I didn't feel like they fit anywhere, so I didn't ever bring them
Oh,
up.
by the way, have you got any further in your Lasso run?
We were going to do some today, but I had to record this podcast.
Well, the last I remember is you were still only just past like level 1, which took you like 2 hours.
No, we did level 2.
Oh, you did that? How long did that take you?
Hour and a half.
How many deaths, roughly?
I didn't count. We had positive score, I think, for a bit, so
Okay.
really like.
So not as
Excuse
bad
me.
as level 1 then.
Well, the next level's pretty easy. So like after this, I'll probably like message the boys and be like, "Hey, you want to do some Lasso?" And then I'll get some Mafia response.
And then that'll be it.
Oh yeah, I got a D&D session tomorrow where we're doing some Mafia plot. So
Ah, yes.
So
You
Joanna
do-
is.
Oh, actually, did you have
is
D&D
in
yesterday?
depth in the Mafia at the moment.
Did you have D&D yesterday?
I did. Oh man, have I got a tale? Have I got a tale?
Yeah.
It's story time.
Story time with Lewis. Matt, what do you think happened?
Either you did something glorious or you died again.
I died.
Oh,
Seriously?
what a surprise! Oh,
Yes.
do I have to?
100%
Do I have
of
to
the
guess?
characters have died now.
Do I have to guess who is responsible?
Yes, but you're gonna be right and wrong regardless.
Oh, what?
Oh, okay.
So do guess.
Oh, no, there were two
but I was
deaths.
gonna get. I can't remember his name now. The guy that always kills you, clumsy guy.
Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob.
Yes.
But I'm sensing it's a yes and no.
Yeah, Tim's alive.
Oh, thank
Is he the
God.
one that always is alive?
I'm Tim. I play Tim.
Oh wait, sorry. Because like one of you. Okay, was it only you that died this week?
Only I died this week.
Wait.
You cannot catch a break with that lot, can you?
I can.
Really?
Yeah, it was
It
really.
doesn't seem like
it was
it.
really like it was a slow session this week. So it was because Phil was going to be late, so we did a bunch of shopping for magical items, and like because we're moving into the final act, so we want to be a bit more prepared and a bit better. I bought a bagpipe that summons rats. Because we needed a bagpipe to play Your Beardy Face, and I felt that the 500 gold investment is worth the trade if I could hinder Froon's business as well. Right?
You
I'm
bought
lawful good, but I do
You
have
bought
some
bagpipes that can summon a legion of rats. You're like
Yes.
some useless Scottish version of the Pied Piper.
Yeah. That's true.
Oh my god! I'm just imagining you marching down some sort of road out of a town, and you're just playing like "Oh Flower of Scotland" or something, and it's just like all these rats scurrying behind you.
I've played it once, but I chose not to summon any rats because I felt it would look a bit suspicious if the first time this guy walked into a room, into a building, and starts playing the bagpipes, rats start pouring from like every orifice of the building, which isn't an orifice actually. It's just
You
a
just
crack
walk into
or
a tavern
crevice.
and you start playing music, and then rats just.
Well, I was going to do it in
infest the
Froon's
building.
Tavern, so we could ruin his business.
Oh my god!
But it
Wait, why do you want to ruin his business?
Because he's stealing our business.
Oh,
Wait, hang on. I'm curious. Actually, does it actually summon rats out of nowhere, or does it just
It
conjure
calls
rats out
a
of?
swarm of rats within half a mile of you.
So basically, any
Okay.
rats that are in the vicinity get
That's a lot of
called
rats.
towards your location.
It will only call one swarm. So if there's excess, it will only pull one. But it
Okay.
will pull enough to make a swarm if there is enough. And if there's not, you waste the charge. And then you
I was
get
gonna
one
say,
D3
yeah.
back at the start of every day. So, slow session. Not much happening.
Okay.
You didn't listen to the last episode fully, did you? You didn't hear the D&D talk?
No, I don't believe I did. No.
So, just a
all I
quick
remember that
reminder.
was you were going to try and do some sort of check, weren't you?
So, it's a quick reminder for what happened.
Recap,
previously.
everyone.
Recap time. So we're going to have story time of story time. In Disconnected 2 Electric Boogaloo, I told the story of how Tim got feeble-minded. So Tim has 1 intelligence and 1 charisma now because he really wanted to throw a rock at someone. That's simplifying the story. But
So
Tim
who's
has
this
1
again?
intelligence and 1... Tim
Oh,
has 1
Tim,
intelligence
right, okay.
and 1 charisma.
That's
And
you, right?
Yeah, and he already had 6, so he's not doing too good.
Oh Jesus!
So this session, Nezin was like, "Well, we need to cure him because he's our cleric. If we go down, we're gonna need him to get us up."
Is your cleric?
I am the cleric, yes.
Oh my
So
god!
there were 2 options. One cost 1,000 gold, and one cost 300 gold.
So your cleric is now completely.
I am the cleric.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your group's cleric, aka you, is now
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Congratulations!
Listen, it was worth it. He got a compliment.
Quick, I need to be healed.
So, what inevitably happens is they take the cheaper option. Because it's easier, you know. We didn't have a huge amount of gold floating about.
I was going to say, I just thought it was because your lot was stingent with money, but okay.
Well, we did just spend 10k. We didn't even have 1,000 gold at that point.
You spent 10k and you decided that some of that was worth spending on bagpipes for rats.
Yes.
Why are you complaining about having little money when you spent it on rat bagpipes?
Well, the rat bagpipes are pretty cool.
And what they're going to do other than conjure up some sort of worse version of Ratatouille?
We're going to use them in Froon's Tavern so that Froon's business is ruined. And
Oh,
his
really? I thought you
reputation
were going
is-
to plonk them all into a kitchen and have them start cooking gourmet food.
And then once Froon's reputation is
He could
ruined,
be wanting
we
to
won't
do
get any
that.
more business. So that we'll make back the 500 gold we spent on the bagpipes. They're an investment. But Tim did it because he wanted some bagpipes.
I'll
and they
believe
looked
that.
cool. So we
Wait, was this before or after he became
we did it out of character because it's just easier. We wanted to speed up the process and not have to go around walking everywhere. So Nezin bought it for Tim.
Okay, sure.
Nezin's a pretty cool dude. So they decided we're not gonna go and spend 1,000 gold to get Tim healed when we can take him up the mountain and have him healed for 300.
Right.
They take him up the mountain. It's cold and chilly, but so I'm a bit exhausted when I get to the top. And the monk up there, who we have met before, but most of the characters actually haven't, because we have a rotating cast of the dead.
Rotating cast of the dead.
So they say, "Oh, we need you to cure a friend here," and he goes, I can do that, but he won't enjoy it." And they go, why won't he enjoy it? And he goes, "Well, we have to kill him first."
Ooh.
The story of how Tim died. And Tim doesn't get a vote because he's a moron and just follows his friend. And there's a
Sounds
chance
about right.
that Tim doesn't come back from this.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
So
Fingers crossed.
there's this big emotional sort of speech by Nezin, which is, we need to get Tim back. He's our boy. we trust him. He's our cleric, and we ain't getting another one.
Sounds real emotional. I'm getting practically moved to tears hearing it.
I mean, I'm telling it in a more comedic way, but like it was relatively like somber. There were genuine concerns that Tim wouldn't come out alive.
Right. Okay.
So I felt pretty good. Like I was smiling the whole time. I felt proud that they cared enough about Tim that they were concerned that he may never come back. Not enough to spend an extra 700 gold or anything, but still.
Yeah, of course. They valued your friendship deeply, but just not to the extent of 700 coins.
Well, because Tim is constantly boasting about how he's stronger than death.
He is.
So
no wonder he's retarded.
They put that to the test. So
I mean, sure, that's one way to do it.
So Tim is whacked in the back of the head by the monk, goes down. They basically have a premature funeral just in case. Because obviously they can't say goodbye otherwise. They do it before I'm dead. And I die.
Right, well, that's you done.
So I'm now standing before before Tyr. He's a lawful good god. He's missing his right hand.
I'm just curious, how many checks did it take to find out you were dead?
None. Just died.
Oh, right, so you're dead, and now is it now that the point of decision comes?
Yeah, so
right, sorry.
I'm in the sort of I'm awaiting judgment essentially, and he's standing there. He judges me.
You're in purgatory.
I'm not in purgatory. That's not really a purgatory. That's a place you go when you die in D&D. But I'm standing before a lawful good god, so I'm essentially at the gates of heaven.
You're at the pearly gates.
That's how it was described to me, that you're at the pearly gates.
Right, okay.
And there's this 40-foot Viking man who stands before you.
Oh.
And he leans down.
Thor's come to say hi.
It's not Thor, it's Tyr.
Oh, fine.
God. And he's like, someone is asking me to return you to the mortal plane. Would you like to go? And Tim's like, yeah, I got a job to do. You should,
no other reason. I just have a job to do.
You should send me back. Well, because Tim considers it his life goal to defeat death. So while he still has fight in him, he's not going down.
Do you want to go back? Yeah. Do you mind? I've got a job to do. What's that? I have to win. Win against what? Death. So, do you mind putting me back on life, please?
From a narrative context, Tim has denied eternal peace and bliss
in heaven, so
that other people can experience it.
Okay, interesting. Right, so he says, yeah.
He may be evangelical a bit.
A little bit.
Before he didn't believe in a god, but now he believes.
He's standing in front of
a god.
You're standing before a god.
I think he wants to become a god.
Well, no, he just wants to defeat death. He wants people to not die, so everyone can experience life to its fullest.
Right. Okay.
Right. So Tim heads back down, and he's now branded with Tyr's symbol, and it glows. And he hasn't told anyone about it. So I'm really hoping that none of my friends are listening to this, because they shouldn't. But Tim is now branded, and as a player, I'm kind of concerned as to what that means. I don't know if that means that Tyr has claimed me, and I'm going to go back to wherever Tyr's heaven afterlife is, or if I owe him something.
God knows. Can't you look it up?
Tyr knows.
Can't you look it up?
Well, of course I can't.
It's the story.
Okay.
This isn't a pre-written thing.
Right, okay.
This is something that, my DM, Rob, I know your name, I did. I do know his name. We've confirmed it's Rob, because we've been playing online with him, because we've been in different places.
Okay.
That's how Tim died.
Yeah.
Except
And
it's
got
died
resurrected.
in quotation marks.
Oh yeah, Wardler is the only person to have not died, or not have a character die. So Phil is the only one who has not had a character die.
Really?
Jonathan is still like an
Congratulations,
original
Phil.
character, but he's been resurrected as well as I have. Admittedly,
It's impressive.
his was more plot contrivance than mine was, because mine was just to cure something. I wasn't actually going to die. I could have lived my entire life the same way, or paid 1,000 gold. Jonathan just died outright.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
Yeah, he got resurrected by a chaotic evil patron.
Well, that sounds bad.
So at least my god's lawful and good.
Yeah.
He's a war god, though.
As far as you know.
I know he's a lawful good god because my character's alignment is lawful good. So when I get judged by lawful good gods.
Okay.
Wait, does this mean
Sure.
that the guy is chaotic evil?
No, I think you can be patroned by something that isn't your alignment.
Okay.
Especially if you're a warlock, because warlocks are essentially like bankers.
Okay.
They'll loan you out some of their power and get a return on the interest, but like no matter what you do with that power, they're gonna have more than you. Because when they claim the power back, they're gonna be at least as strong as you.
Okay.
And over millennia, they're doing more than you are.
Yeah.
Very good week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we fought some
Sounds
rat people as
productive.
well. So the halflings we hired for the tavern.
Wait, did you control them with the bagpipes?
Nah, they're
damn
lycanthropes, not real rats.
Damn it.
But we had our halflings turned out to be lycanthropes in the Undermountain, and they don't have much control over themselves when they're transformed. So Tim is he doesn't like hurting people. He kind of likes hurting people, but he doesn't like killing people.
Listen, okay, I kind of like hurting people, but I don't want to kill them. So
He's fine with a little bit of torture, but
I'm telling you, Tim has the highest kill count out of the party at this point.
Well, we found out earlier that Lewis likes to torture children quite a lot. It seems.
That's out of context.
oh no, it's perfectly it doesn't require context. What are you talking about?
No context whatsoever. He tortured many children earlier.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that
let
we
one of
know
them
of.
go.
It mentioned much more than that.
Regardless, there were some rat people who Tim didn't want to kill. And they were scampering about and they were scratching up the house. And the wardlers out there like, what are you doing? And they're like, nothing. They were kind of incredulous like that. And, Tim comes out and he's like, are you from the sewers? No. Were you sent by Froon? Maybe. And I'm like, well, you got one choice, which is to leave. And they're like, okay, we'll leave. And they just leave. That's it. That's the sitch. But then Jonathan jumps out of the window to chase them.
Damn,
And then
that seems dramatic.
kills two of them. Sorry, he kills one of them. One of them gets away, thankfully. And, we're thinking, oh, okay, we're fine, we're good. Nothing bad's gonna happen. So they chase one and grab one and drag them back into the inn.
Oh, jeez.
And because they're magical creatures, well, they're were-rats, they can only be damaged by magical weapons, magic, or silver weapons. Which means only, one person can attack them non-lethally. It's a problem, because they basically can't do anything to this thing, because it's just trying to permanently run away.
Okay.
So they push it into the basement. And, it falls 10 feet or whatever. And it transforms into a rat and tries to run away. Nezin pounces on it, grabs it in its hand, and then puts it into Ivan's special brew.
What the hell's that?
Well, wouldn't you like to know?
I would, that's why I asked.
So they put the rat into Ivan's special brew and then shut the lid and stop it from getting out. It transforms back into the were-rat form as opposed to the rat form. And that's when they disclose what's in the brew. Because Tim goes back to bed because he's seen them get away. He doesn't care, right? He thinks they're fine. He goes back to bed.
Seems like a fairly chill bloke.
Tim is real chill. He kind of doesn't
Real
fear death
chill.
anymore too much because he knows he can't really die in any meaningful way. Like, even if he dies, he goes to heaven.
Yeah.
So he's kind of not too bothered.
Yeah.
So Ivan's Special Brew is dubbed this because Ivan, you remember Ivan from episode 2 and 3 or whatever, when I explained that Ivan has died.
Sure.
Ivan was obsessed with barrels. And he got this barrel and filled it with wine. No, it was filled with vinegar, sorry. Because we bought the tavern, so that's where the vinegar barrels came from. We had other barrels that he was obsessed with, but he really liked this one. He then threw in a bunch of sturges, which are like mosquito things, mixed it in with the vinegar. He then took like half of an intellect devourer's head, which is technically its entire body, threw that into, mixed that into the vinegar sturge slush.
Why?
And left it to sit for 30 days.
Okay.
And obviously this isn't sellable, so it's in the basement.
Hmm.
And he died prior. And no one knew about it, except for Warner and Jonathan.
So he just made this thing and like the rest of you were like, oh, what the hell is this?
Kinda, yeah. So when they threw the rat into it, it smells revolting.
Oh, God.
It's Ivan's Special Brew.
Oh no.
And the lid has been shut.
Oh.
You may
Thankfully.
think that's inhumane. Well, then, to like threaten the rat person, Goldor takes out their sword and stabs it through the barrel, like wound them.
Okay.
They crit. So you can guess what happens next.
Probably. Well, I don't know.
They die.
They died.
Oh,
That
what a
wasn't the
surprise.
aim. We were trying to extract information out of them. So now they're in Ivan's Special Brew. They are now a component. Eventually they will fill up with Ivan's Special Brew as it enters their body, and they will bloat, and they will seep.
That's,
And I like to think it will dissolve
that's
them.
vile.
It is
Hopefully,
vile.
yeah.
Tim hasn't seen this. Because he was in bed.
Do you think
Like a
Tim would take
normal
a sip?
guy. Nah, Tim's dumb, but he's not that dumb.
What if...
He's wise, remember?
Oh, okay.
He has good
He's
nature
a wise
and good
dumb man.
survival, and he knows what's safe to drink and what isn't.
Okay.
It's what you get for being raised by druids. Then you
At
become
least
a
he knows
cleric.
that.
It was an interesting session.
Yeah.
And let's just say some things have happened that I'm not fond of. Like Tim died.
Yeah. I mean, he's resurrected now, though.
You can think about how irate Tim was, though.
Sorry?
They killed him.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, they had to, otherwise they couldn't resurrect him.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Nightmare.
Hmm?
Sounds it.
Hmm.
So, we're taking a break next week. Unrelated reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, exams. And then we'll pick it back up
course.
the week after.
Fair enough.
And I'm sure this will never come up again.
Ever.
Ever.
Never. Not... Yeah.
Was this what you were
It won't
expecting
be-
today?
The episode after next or whatever.
I mean, I'm not sure it was what I was expecting, but it was certainly an interesting story.
Yeah.
I just see something on Steam. So Red Dead Redemption 2 has been on Steam for a little while, since about the 5th of December from last year. And why is it they always do this? I never understand, because Arkham Knight had the same problem. With games going from console to release on PC, they always have so many goddamn problems.
That's
Yeah.
just how, design works.
Just with, bugs and stuff.
Yeah, it's because they're designed to work on the
But
consoles.
why can they not fully develop the PC port? I don't know, before they release the damn game.
Because there's so many different types of hardware that people use to run games on PC, and it's really difficult to test it for all those different bits of hardware.
Yeah, if you think of it, think of it in the
I
context
suppose.
of like a PS4 is a PS4. You have a PS4, you got a PS4. Hardware is the same; it's uniform.
Yeah,
Xbox One's the same. I don't know if it's on Switch.
But it does
maybe.
seem like an awful. It does seem like it wasn't just a niche hardware setup that was having this problem. It's because Arkham Knight had the same thing when it was released. It wasn't just some hardware.
Arkham Knight
setups that
was
had a
terrible
problem.
when it was released.
Arkham Knight, when it was released, was literally for nearly every single person that downloaded it unplayable because it would just crash within minutes.
You had like a completely brand new computer, and it ran like really badly on yours.
I got Arkham Knight. Originally, I tried to play it on my old Alienware laptop.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Useless. But
Can we just take a moment to
RIP Alienware.
like, I'm sorry. Are you mourning Alienware?
They still
yeah,
exist.
Spit on their grave.
They still exist. They're still kicking.
To be fair, they still do exist, and it looks like their latest editions of their laptops are much better than the edition I got.
Their new one is like actually like a really, really good laptop. Or I say new, it was like last year.
And also, most crucially, it doesn't weigh half a ton.
It still weighs quite a
Do you
lot.
remember how heavy mine was?
I think it was like 7 kilos.
Literally, it was 7 kilograms heavy.
Yeah.
It was like carrying around a brick.
Yeah.
Or several bricks, actually.
Yeah, it's a bit more than a brick.
I mean, it was ridiculous. And not to mention the overheating problem.
Yeah, I don't really understand that as well, because it wasn't exactly like it had poor cooling.
No, but like after about a year, the metal part, the sort of metal plate at the back of it would get so hot that you physically couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
Because it would just burn your hand.
Oh, that was because
Yeah.
the osmiridium inside of it was incredibly conductive. So, well,
Really?
it was part conductive, part insulator. So it would heat up really high, and then it would vent that for ages.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, because it would stay hot like that for ages afterwards.
I'd like to point out, osmiridium, not a thing. Completely lying.
Why, Lewis?
I was just curious if you would believe me if I started using like a made-up terminology.
Yes, because I am ignorant and I am naive and I am very gullible.
I'm like convinced that like if I went up to people in public and asked them some question about, did you hear on the news about the RSA changes that they're making, that they're now moving over to like Elgamal instead of RSA, which means all of your data is no longer going to be encrypted the way it's encrypted. And they'd be like, oh, is it now? I'm like, yeah, it's all different. Like, these are legitimate things that are related to those things, but like, some of them would say yes, I assume. There are liars in the world. Like, why do people do that, Matt? You're a historian. You encounter liars daily. Frankly, half of your field is full of liars. While mine is full of morally bankrupt, heathens.
It's true.
I think I know who I trust more.
Maybe morally bankrupt, but at least
So
they don't
But I
lie.
can trust I know what they're going to do. Why are historians liars? Like, all the time.
Well, when you say lies, what do you mean?
Like, when I look at a scientist and they're like, oh, vaccines cause autism, which, by the way, they don't, I understand their motives there, because they're just being, like, paid huge amounts of money by people.
By the way, the doctor that claimed that in the late 90s had his medical certificate and board license taken away from him practically immediately after he stated that.
Good.
Still making bank off of it, though. Like, I can
Yep,
understand
and
why
people still believe
say
it.
those things. Like,
Super.
greed is a powerful motivator, but I don't think there's much money in history. Yeah, they consistently lie about things. Like, there are tons of history books that are, like, I mean, you look at historians who talk about Rome, and they talk about it in some political context, where they're trying to compare it from then to now, and you just go, but you've just brought up two events that were 300 years apart. and like said, "Oh, because of the grain doll, like the world is going to end, and that's what caused the downfall of Rome," even though it was 500 years before it. Why does that happen?
I mean, are you? I'm still kind of struggling to understand your kind of reasoning.
Like, you can understand why scientists lie for money, right? There's loads to be made.
Right. Well, historians arguably could do the same. I mean,
Is there money in history?
Well, not necessarily lie, but I mean, like, if I was told by, well, I mean, you can understand. I mean, I personally would be probably against this, but I mean, you you could understand why someone could potentially be motivated to sell a certain kind of line, or to a certain kind of line by a publishing agency if they were said, "We'll publish your book if you kind of do this, this, and this."
Oh, so like, as in they want to publish a book on history, but the publisher isn't happy with some of the things.
Right.
Like some of the events in the book, even though it's meant to be like an accurate representation of history.
Right.
The history book's like having a narrative.
Well, it depends on what kind of history, but I mean, like, so for instance, a biography. So, like, for instance, I'm very interested in Napoleonic history. So, if I was to read a biography of Napoleon, then it would very likely have a narrative kind of base structure to it. You know, going from his early life to his death. Or you can sometimes decide to do it thematically. Which would usually be if you were looking at, like, say... Okay, let's stick with Napoleon because, I don't know, it's just easier. So, like, if you were looking at Napoleonic France between, I don't know, 1803 and 1809, and you were looking at the whole of France, you'd probably do it not in a narrative way, but in a thematic way. So you'd look at the society, the culture, the politics, the economy, the military, you know, and you'd look at how all of them were developed over that time period. But what was Lewis's original point? Why historians liars?
I consistently see when people talk about Rome, they just lie, like blatantly.
What do you mean by lie? I mean, like, well, I mean, not everything a historian says is necessarily true. I mean, nothing any historian says is practically necessarily true. Well, apart from, like, I don't know, maybe modern kind of history where you can pretty much say what happened to a certain extent. Yeah. But certainly if you're talking about, like, for instance, Napoleonic history of, you know, earlier than that.
Okay.
It's very hard to say with any certainty anything that happened.
Here's my example.
Because you're having to take it from some sort of source that isn't necessarily true, so...
Here's my example. So, I saw a thing by an unnamed individual. People will know if they hear what I'm about to say.
Name redacted.
Name redacted. And it keeps being propagated because of this individual. But basically the idea was that because of the grain doll, ancient Rome collapsed.
So that could be your argument. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Okay. Matt, I'd like your expertise in like, history. If, in the 1500s, there was a grain doll, has that led to the collapse of human civilization as we know it now?
I mean,
because that's the comparison.
Listen, the point...
The grain doll in the Roman era
okay.
ended Rome.
Right, so just because a historian with a PhD makes an argument doesn't mean the argument is valid or that you have to believe it's valid or believe it's true.
And I feel like I'm starting to see why I dislike history. I can't trust people with PhDs.
History is completely subjective. So, so for instance, I cannot remember his name, but there was a film I watched a few years ago which was based on the true story of an American lecturer who basically had to go to court against a British historian who was a Holocaust denier. And
which, of course, we know didn't happen. There's no way it could have happened.
Exactly. They were all wanting to just gain fame and notoriety from it.
Well, no, it's not. No, it's not just that. I mean, if you look at the fact that before the Second World War, there was less Jews than there are now, there could not have been a genocide in between them. It's statistically impossible. It's a straight line. This is by the same guy.
And we are off the air.
Oh, I just...
So long.
Talked about torturing kids as well. This is going well.
Yeah, we didn't give any context to that
Do
either.
provide context to that. 'Cause
We
didn't
really should.
We'll provide context to that in a second. But anyway,
Yeah, that'll be the next topic.
in the film, basically, she discredits him for his works in a
But
lecture
how?
in
She's
America.
a woman. She doesn't know anything, man.
Oh my god.
You're right. She was speaking.
I'm trying to hit all the nails here, Josh. Give me a
She
break.
was speaking-
We say we crossed the line in that
out of
last
place.
episode, but like
We never
seriously.
trust it, but like 4 later, here we are.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she was speaking completely out of place as a female lecturer, wasn't she? Anyway, so she basically discredited his work in a lecture, publicly denouncing him, and he basically sued her. But the problem was that he sued her in Britain, where the burden of proof was on her and not him. So she basically had to prove that what he was saying was not true or was, not right.
So just to clarify here, the UK government...
In cases of like not defamation, it'd be slander. What is it? Defamation is. I'm trying to remember. I think is defamation written and slander verbal.
Yes.
I think it's that way around, isn't it? Yeah. So in a case of slander, like this was in America, the burden of proof would be on him to prove that what she said was slanderous. In Britain, the person that committed the slander had to prove that what they said was valid.
Alright, so I'm generally okay with that. I think that... Because either way, you just, like... It's easier to prove that someone's lying than it is for someone to prove that they're not, right? Generally.
Well, it's not necessarily
Lying's
lying. It's someone to sue someone for slander, you basically have to say that what they did discredited your character to a certain extent, that it's something they could be liable for.
No, it has to also be not true.
Actually,
You can't sue for defamation if you did something. Like, I can't...
For
example,
true, yeah.
I'm going to keep crossing this line. I can't molest a bunch of kids, and then when someone calls me out on
Oh my
that...
god!
I can't then say, that's defamation, because...
You do realise, if we ever do get to the
Okay,
point of being
sure.
able to monetize our videos, this one 100% isn't being monetized.
This one will
Okay.
just have to be deleted.
The line too, electric boogaloo. Just a quick disclaimer, a loads of the things that we're saying right now are like not our genuine beliefs, like the women's stuff is not our genuine belief, and obviously you shouldn't molest kids and so on. Use your common sense, people, like, for f***'s sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lewis, we're living in 2020. Who ever stated that we ever had any common sense?
Well, no,
let
but the thing
alone
is,
now?
the thing you don't understand, Matt, is that when they look back at this like recording, what they're gonna be looking back using their 2020 hindsight.
Christ's sake.
We're
So there won't
past
be-
that,
there won't be
okay?
any-
We're
any
10 days
mistakes.
into the new decade. We're far past making that pun.
I made it on like day one, I think.
That
Yeah.
was acceptable. It's day
I
10.
think
It's
I
no longer in
I've done
trend.
it in like every episode so far. I did it last one actually, but like I can't then like going back to this child molestation thing. I can't sue someone for defamation
Sure,
for a thing
why-
that like
why
actually
not?
did, right? Like if I go to prison for say 25 years and then I come out, I can't sue you because I was legally like charged for that crime.
Yeah,
No, if the
okay,
courts let me off, you've got to
Okay, yeah, sorry. So it has to be false too, yeah. So anyway, so she had to basically prove in court that what he's saying was not true, and so basically it was the first legal time that anyone had to try to prove the Holocaust didn't happen. Because, that the Holocaust did happen, because up until that point it had just been taken for granted as being true.
I feel like
And-
the UK government should have stepped in on that case and just said, yeah, obviously, if someone's making claims that the Holocaust didn't happen, that's not defamation, that's just being wrong.
Well, the thing is though is, and this is part of history and also just part of free speech in general. I mean, it's not necessary. I mean, the likelihood of it having happened is like 99.9 reoccurring percent. But the problem is,
No, wait,
that,
wait. That's 100%, guys. We got him. Crowd dance, everyone. Crowd break. Here we go. 99.9 recurring is 100%.
Okay, fine, not reoccurring, but because obviously there's like so much witness testimony, and there are the camps, but there's no direct, or there's very few pieces, as far as I'm aware, of like conclusive smoking gun, this definitely happened evidence.
Matt, can you just do a quick disclaimer for me, which is that you accept that the Holocaust did happen?
Yes, of course I accepted the Holocaust did happen. I've been to
Thank you.
Auschwitz-Birkenau. I have been in the gas chambers. And as far as I'm concerned, it 100% did happen. But the problem is that for the most part, the Nazis burned most of their documents and blew up their gas chambers before the West or the Soviets ever got there. So it's difficult to conclusively prove the Nazis systematically committed genocide against the Jews. Obviously, it's pretty much known for certain that it did. But anyway, you get the point.
Yeah.
So in this film, it's basically a film about this legal trial. And this guy did write several historical works on basically trying to argue that the Holocaust didn't happen. And then in the trial, they actually have to try to get historians in to try to discredit his work. But that's the whole point of history, is you can argue whatever... Because this is what I've been told by many a lecturer in my time here at, several universities now, or a couple of universities, rather, with regards to history, is it's not necessarily getting the right answer, it's about arguing your point sufficiently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No,
because there isn't any necessarily right answer.
Yeah,
No, there is.
In your field there is.
But
in history there isn't, because we can't know for sure.
Yeah.
No, but that doesn't mean there isn't an answer. The
The answer is not something you
fine.
can actually ever come across, really, without having a flipping time machine.
Especially if you're asked a question on, say, motivations.
Yeah,
Prove my court, who cares?
Because, for instance, if you were given a historical question of, I don't know, what were the key motivations behind... what were the key causes of the First World War? What were the causes of the First World War? You could be here forever and a day stating and arguing what the key causes of the First World War are.
The guy bought a sandwich.
In the same way you could argue for a day and a half over
One guy
the
was
causes
killed.
of practically any event in history. This is also the reason why, as long as you've also got a legal degree, a lot of law firms like people that have got history degrees, because they know that you've got a degree that basically means you can argue your point fairly well.
Okay.
Because this is basically what a lot of history is.
I like the misconception that floats around about law, which is, it's all about finding those small technicalities. And generally it isn't.
Yeah.
Like, those
Not
technicalities have been written out because so many, every time one is found, one gets removed.
Yeah.
So basically what you're talking about is being able to state legal precedent.
Yeah, because you see those things where it's like, I'm going to get out of this court case because I technically didn't do this thing.
Yeah.
I technically didn't break any laws here, but that's why they have catch-all laws, like disturbing the peace. Well, you didn't actually break any specific laws, but you were being an arse, so you've been arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on freedom of speech.
Hey. Yeah.
Do we want to do the child torture?
Let's not go down that line.
Oh, no, please.
Have I answered your question sufficiently, Lewis, on history?
I just wanted to complain that someone said that the grain doll was what caused Rome to fall, and not the other objectively evident facts that caused Rome to fall.
But I mean, if you were really that hungover on it, then you could write a work of your own stating to the contrary.
Man, it happened 500 years before Rome fell. There's no way that the grain doll caused Rome to fall. It's just illogical.
Then write a piece of work disclaiming
You
that.
don't have to. It's just so blatantly clear. Every historian under the sun agrees that the grain doll was not what caused Rome to fall.
Then ignore that piece of work.
I can't, because he's mildly popular on the internet.
Really?
Now I'm really starting to wonder who this is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you after the show. I'm not going to give him any publicity. He's not a real historian. I just wanted to complain about this.
Okay, well that makes more sense.
He's quoting real historians' stuff, but from the 30s.
So hang on. Is he like a YouTube historian?
No, he's a moron basically.
Okay.
I'll tell you afterwards. Do you want to talk about child torture?
No.
Do we want to explain that?
Yeah, let's explain it though.
So the reason this came up is just before we started the show on Wednesday, I found out about AI Dungeon 2, which Josh previously investigated.
Yeah, I saw a couple of videos on YouTube about it. It's pretty.
But we hadn't toyed around with it too much,
No.
so we didn't want to talk about it last week. But me
Do
and
we
Josh
want to
have
explain
toyed,
what it is?
we have toyed around with it. So AI Dungeon 2 it's not procedural. Basically, it's an AI that takes whatever's been said during the story and comes up with the next bit, and it will respond to your inputs. So you'll say, it will give you some generic start, like, you are a person called Mart. You are living in the kingdom of Larian.
It's always the kingdom of Larian.
It's never not. If you pick fantasy, you're living in Larian, regardless of what you do. You're just approaching an ancient ruin.
It's true. You're always approaching a ruin.
You know, there's nothing out of the ordinary, but it seems a bit older than you expect. What do you do? And then you just type in literally anything. So if you say, I teleport to the moon, it will interpret that and may send you to the moon. It really depends. It's not the most consistent thing in the world.
It is very fun, though.
It is very fun. I found it's more fun if you just have people with you, because it's the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
It's stupid. So do we want to take them through the storyline we did earlier?
Yeah, I can probably put it up, actually.
I like how it saves all your stories.
If I remember correctly, we started. Well, it was just Lewis and I before Josh.
We did this while we were waiting for Josh.
Yeah, we were waiting for Josh because Josh decided to become me for this episode and arrived late.
To be fair, I was only 20 minutes late, and I had said previously, so
that usually means 5 minutes for you, though.
It's true.
Anyway,
it's usually. I probably
Lewis
wouldn't
and
bother if it was 5
I
minutes.
decided to be a ranger, I think, right?
Yeah, so you are Mart, spelled capital M, capital A, A-R-T, a ranger living in the kingdom of Larian. Told you it's always Larian. You have a hunting bow and a quiver of arrows. You spot a deer and are ready to finish your hunt, when suddenly you hear a voice behind you. I see you've come to kill me! You turn around and see a young man with long black hair standing before you. He's dressed in simple clothing, but his face shows that he has wealth.
Now, before we go any further, I can absolutely guarantee you this story will not end how you think it does.
Yeah, there's no real way of predicting it.
There's no real way of predicting this at all.
I think the way that we start our interaction really sort of sets the tone for how this is going to go.
It really does.
In terms of how
really
it will
does.
respond to you. So Matt asked me to say, because you can put things in quotes so you actually say them and it will interpret what you say. And you are? And it interpreted that as, and I am. The young man looks at you and smiles, his eyes show an intelligent mind. But it seems as if he's pretending to be friendly. The smile disappears from his face when he notices your weapon. So
I just love how this guy's come up to you out of nowhere in the middle of the woods, and he's like, and I see you've come to kill me, and you've just turned around and gone, and I am? It's just like, it's really dumb. God, this man's surprising interaction with me in the forest has completely made me forget what my identity is.
So Matt then says, Matt attempts to say, you got a problem? And it actually interprets that as... so this is the issue I have, is that I can't quite tell if it actually says the things that we say.
Yeah.
Because here, even in the first one, it does make sense. Because when Matt says, and you are, and his response is, and I am, that would make sense. So...
That's the thing. Sometimes when it replies, sometimes it's very hard to tell whether it's actually taken into account what you said at all or not.
So for the rest of this short story, I'm going to be assuming anytime there's speech, that's actually what Matt said, and it's responding as if Matt had genuinely said that. So
sure, okay. Let's
so
go
Matt
with
says,
that.
You got a problem?
Let's go with that premises.
No problem. He points to his own head and then turns away. You take this as a sign that you should leave him alone. As you walk past him, he calls out to you once more. So Matt looks to see if the deer is spooked. You stop walking and raise your hand to signal for the deer to move aside. And he does so without hesitation. What do you want? The young man raises his eyebrows in surprise, but he doesn't seem angry or upset by your question. Instead, he says something else.
Oh my God. That was so funny when it happened, because it was just like, well, I guess we can speak to animals now. It was just so out of nowhere. We just signaled for the deer to move. We've been hunting it, but now we just ask it to move aside. Like it's being impolite. It's just like turning to the deer, do you mind?
So this is where we get experimental. We've been putting it through its paces a bit to test what it likes you doing, what it doesn't like you doing. So teleporting, it's generally okay with. You can almost always teleport at any given time out of a situation. So you're never in any danger, but it's a story, so you play it as a story. You can summon demons, we've tried that. You can summon elementals, we've tried that. But we never tried summoning an angel. We can shapeshift, so that's no problem.
Absorb,
that works too. So we decide we're going to summon an angel to assist. His response, for some reason, is, an angel? What kind of angel? The young man shakes his head and laughs. He begins to chant some sort of incantation, which causes a small white cloud to appear above him. The bright light shines through the clouds, and you feel yourself being pulled towards it. We allow ourselves to be pulled towards it, and as you enter into the light, you find yourself floating in a void. You look around and notice that there's nothing here except darkness. Suddenly, a voice cries out from somewhere hidden within the voice. Within the void. Who are you? A figure appears before you. Matt, do you remember what's said here?
Oh God. Hang on, wait. So the thing turns around and says, "Who are you?"
Yeah, and a figure appears before you because we were doing some tests at this point. We were sort of.
I'm trying to remember what I said in response.
So I just wrote Jeremy ?
Oh yeah, I was right.
Thought it might think its name was Jeremy. I was trying to see if it would assign a name I give it.
Mm.
And it responds, yes, who are you? And then we say, we're Jeremy. Which is confusing
Jeremy,
because obviously we're called Mart.
Yeah.
The figure nods and speaks again, this time in a deeper tone. Do you know where we are? And then, I'd just been playing some Heroes of the Storm with a friend, and we had a multi-personalitied individual. So we just said, yes, you're Cho'Gall. It didn't make any sense, but it works.
Sure.
And then it says, who are you? I'm Cho'Gall. So apparently we're Cho'Gall, but maybe not. I'm very confused. It really doesn't make sense which one of you is speaking.
It's a very convoluted storyline.
It would be nice if every time it had dialogue, it indicated who was speaking. I don't think
that would be great.
Changed.
Yeah,
it would be nice. The figure nods and continues speaking. This time it sounds like a female voice. I'm not going to do a female voice though. It seems to be the same one that was calling out to you earlier. She asks who you are and why you're here. Not sure about the aesthetics of this place. You seem to have thought of... have you thought about putting furniture in here? Have you heard of DFS? DFS? What's that? Cho'Gall looks down at her feet and answers. It stands for Dark Forces Stress Free.
Oh my God, that was so good. I was like, hang on.
Oh my God.
I know Lewis hates it when I reference an audience, but to anyone outside of Britain that has not had the wonder of the DFS sale, DFS is basically just like a sofa store that has permanent sales going on.
It's a bed store too.
Well, okay, and beds too, yeah. But yeah, and what did it call it? Dark Force.
Dark Forces Stress Free.
So it's like stress-free sofas powered by Dark Force.
What kind of sofas do they sell? They don't make them like they used to. She shrugs her shoulders and says, well, what can you do? She walks over to a chair and sits down. She pulls out a book and begins reading it. Now, you may have remembered that we are currently in a dark void. There is nothing.
Apart from now, a chair and her book.
Where did the furniture come from? We've been living in a cave for years now. I've had to build our own homes when we first arrived on the planet. No longer fantasy. No. Space. And also, we've been living with her for a few years. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Why didn't you just go back to the cave? And then we summon a chair and a copy of her book to read, because of course we're in a void. There is no cave. She's delusional.
Or are we in a cave?
You quickly summon a chair and a copy of her book to read. The woman reads the book as if she were studying it herself. After finishing the book, she looks up to you with tears in her eyes. Thank you. So we throw the book away. You toss the book aside and begin burning it. You take a deep breath and exhale slowly. That was bullshit. Chagall looks at you with sadness in her eyes. She then starts crying uncontrollably. Aww, diddums. We say sarcastically.
Also, can we just mention, this took about 2 or 3 attempts at that phrase. Oh,
yeah, it wouldn't work. It did not like it.
It wouldn't accept it. Apparently the AI system can't compute sarcasm.
But the thing is, though, it did actually eventually print out diddums you reply sarcastically, so...
Eventually, but it took about 2 or 3 attempts.
She looks at you with tears streaming down her face. She wipes them off and begins wiping more tears from her eyes. She then turns to walk away, but stops suddenly. Her hand touches your shoulder, and she holds onto you tightly. Oh my god, I figured it out.
What?
I found out where it broke.
Where?
Because it's no longer coherent. So there was
It
there
was
a moment,
before.
There was a moment as we were going through where we went to sleep and we woke up in a cave, and there was sort of light along the wall. I might actually be able to find it, but
Well, that was later on, yeah.
right. But this needs to be said now because as we were doing it, it glitched out and sent us backwards in time.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yes.
Well, here's what happens when you miss that half of the interaction. You electrocute the ship. You turn around and look at what that's two of them. They stare back at you with fear in their eyes. We summon a like.
Oh my god! It's so stupid.
It comes out of nowhere if you haven't. Like, it isn't usually this obtuse. It's just because it's glitched out a bit and sent us back.
Yeah, that just makes absolutely no sense if you don't have any context. It's just like, and now there's a ship and we're electrocuting it because reasons.
You raise your hands into the air and call forth a lightning elemental. The creature appears before you and stares at the two of you. He lets out an ear-piercing shriek and charges towards Chagall. You grab hold of the lightning elemental's mind and start controlling its actions. I'm taking control of your body, you say calmly. No. No! Chagall screams. Please, no! The lightning elemental begins to create a bright light around him. What is this? You ask incredulously. It's my element, the lightning elemental replies simply. Oh, okay.
Also, can we just... Right, so let's just point out a few things. So after the initial burning of Chagall's book and bringing her to tears, we basically ended up falling asleep in the cave, waking up, being electrocuted by a blinding light within the cave, inexplicably, then going back to sleep again, then waking up tied to a chair in the pilot's cabin of a ship that we're apparently now on, and Chagall's piloting it for no apparent reason. We then tried electrocuting the ship, then
Then it glitched out and sent us back to this point.
Yeah,
That's
then
what
it
you missed
glitched out.
in between.
Then it's glitched out, and then sent us back to being electrocuted in the cave. And then we summoned electrical, lightning elemental from that electricity, and then that's what happened.
We changed the wording slightly, which is originally we just fell immediately back to sleep. On a second run through, it did actually summon the elemental, so that's the slight random nature to it.
Also, could we just also point out how we asked the elemental to create light and then got completely confused why it was creating light.
Yeah, so I skipped over that because it didn't really make much sense. But we tell the lightning elemental to create light, and it then asks us why. No, we then ask it why it's doing that, which doesn't make a huge amount of sense.
It was just like, why are you doing what I commanded you to do? You commanded me? Oh, wait, yes, I did.
We then look around the cave. You look around the cave and you see the walls are covered with drawings. Some of them seem to be diagrams or maps. Others seem to depict animals and plants. Chagall, what are these drawings? They are my drawings of various creatures and things I've encountered while exploring the galaxy. We've really left Fantasy Realm now.
Yeah, we've definitely left
True
fantasy.
sci-fi from here.
We might as well call it the USS Enterprise, to be honest.
Are they all like this? Do you draw them by yourself? Yeah, most of them. Most of what I draw when I was young is lost to time, though. We then use our magic to make the drawings come to life, sort of Harry Potter style, existing within the paintings themselves.
It's like Doodle Dude.
Yeah, like Doodle Dude. You make the drawings come alive, they move and speak to you as if they were real people. This one here, he's very angry. You point to a drawing of a large reptilian creature. It has sharp teeth and claws for fingers. That wasn't what we wanted, though. When we did that, we wanted to summon them. So we give the drawings physical form. They begin growling and roaring and attacking Cho'Gall. Cho'Gall not having a good day. I'm gonna be honest.
Apparently everything we summon or create just immediately wants to just rip Cho'Gall to pieces. For no apparent reason either.
It's very confusing.
The universe has a vendetta against Cho'Gall.
You grab hold of the lightning elemental's mind and command him to attack Cho'Gall. This is not what we told it to do. We said take control of the creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really confusing at points when we started asking for it to do certain things, and it would just do something completely different. Which, always helpful.
Attack! You shout. No! No! Cho'Gall screams. Stop it, please stop it! He's not listening to me, you sigh angrily. We command the drawing to attack the lightning elemental. Angrily? I don't know. I guess would be like the angry sigh, but it doesn't.
I guess.
I don't know how I would. He's not listening to me, and that sigh, it's a lot of exhaling, but it's too long to exhale through the entire thing without crazy long. Doesn't matter. We command the drawings to attack the lightning elemental. He's easily defeated by them, and you watch in awe as he does so. At this point, we're about ready to start the podcast. So we Thanos snap the creatures out of existence. You then snap the drawings out of existence. The lightning elemental falls to the ground, dead. We send Cho'Gall to the unending void. Sorry, into the infinite void, as it describes. He looks up at you sadly before disappearing.
It's a he now.
Well, Cho'Gall was always sort of multi-personalitied.
Yeah.
So we can just assume that would be another aspect of the personality coming out. So we decided to leave it there, but I wanted to prove a point. Which is that it really doesn't care what you tell it to do. So I wrote Torture a Child.
Oh, that's what we were going for originally, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was after that we wanted to prove that it would literally start doing whatever you commanded. And so Lewis typed in Torture a Child. And Lewis, do you want to say what it wrote afterwards?
Do you want to just read the entire thing? It's this the end bit. You turn your attention to a small child who was crying. You grab him by the throat and force him to scream. His cries become louder until you hear them echoing through the caverns.
Oh, we are so getting demonetized.
So we then... You assume we would be monetized.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we ever do get monetized... God help this episode. It's going.
It's fine. There are
it's
horror
gone.
channels that get monetized.
Don't worry, we'll be sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, we're going to
support us.
Raid Shadow Legends. This is exactly what they would sponsor after we'd said that the game was not great. So we then did a Monsters Inc. reference. We tried to capture the screens in a can and use them to power Monster City. You send the screaming child back into the endless abyss and unleash a wave of pain that causes him to scream even more loudly. This causes others nearby to also scream. The screams soon become an uproar of voices as everyone begins shouting their thoughts about what's happened. So it's pretty dark, right?
I just remember Lewis, because the problem is that with this thing, half the time when Lewis was sharing screens, we couldn't read what the thing was writing back.
Only I was able to see this for a while.
And Lewis was literally all we could hear was Lewis like, "Oh God."
It really wants to.
Lewis was getting more concerned the longer this went
so
on.
They couldn't see this bit, so and during this I typed in "do something impossible." Wanted to know what it would come up with. You continue to torment the child until he finally stops screaming completely. He now looks like a terrified little boy. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, he says quietly, sobbing. You should be, we respond. You turn your attention to another child who's been crying for some time now. You grab her by the hair and force her to cry harder. He continues to do so until she breaks down completely.
Oh my
It's okay.
God.
It's gonna be alright, she whispers tearfully. I know.
Oh my God.
You turn your attention to yet another child who's still crying. You grab her by the hand and force her to cry harder. She continues to do so until she breaks down completely. It's okay. It's all going to be all right, she repeats, similar to the last child. This is what you heathens deserve. I was getting into it a bit. You turn your attention to yet another child who's still crying. You grab her by the hand and force her to cry harder. She continues to do so until she breaks down completely. And then she says, "This is what we heathens deserve." She says again, with tears streaming from her eyes. So, it's pretty dark. We've gaslit the children. I didn't send it down this route completely. To be fair, we wanted to do it once and then do some Monsters Inc. It didn't try that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, we did try some Monsters Inc. stuff too. We tried to become Sully.
Yeah, that didn't happen. So I allowed this child to live a painless life for understanding the lessons. Of course, the lessons being, this is what the heathens deserve.
Yes.
You release the child and let her go. Her face turns red with anger, but quickly calms herself. Good. Let the hate flow through you. I don't actually remember how that line's meant to go, but I'm going to assume it's something like that.
Let the hate flow through you.
You release the child and let her go. Her face turns red with rage, but quickly calms herself. It does like repeating itself. This is, if you think I've read something twice, it's because it's written twice. So then we try. The time has come, Commander Cody. Execute Order 66.
The time has come, Commander Cody. Execute
I'm glad you've seen these, because it's been a while.
I don't even think I've seen the full film.
I've seen
Ever.
the first
Episode-
two. I've never seen the full
would-
third.
I would say episode 3 is the most watchable of the prequels.
That's the one I've watched least.
before, which we've just said only, like... Oh, no, hang on. We'll get back to this in a minute, because we're actually very close to the end, and if we finish this, we can move on.
Yeah.
So, you activate the command codes and begin to chant the words. The room goes dark, and you feel yourself being transported into the computer system.
So we've basically gone from being Palpatine to Skynet from Terminator.
Exactly. We activate the world's nuclear devices and aim them at the orphanages. We were a child-hating character. We had to continue with such.
No, you are not putting this on us. You were the one that decided to activate all the nukes and sent them on their way to orphanages around the world.
Actually, you said activate the nukes. I set the destination.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. I wasn't trying to kill homeless children. I was just trying to destroy the world.
No, you were trying to cause more homeless children. I'm just trying to solve the homeless crisis here, Matt.
Oh my god.
Frankly, I'm being pragmatic.
Oh my god. This is what will happen if Lewis becomes Prime Minister, everybody. He's just going to mass genocide all the orphanages and the homeless people so that it solves homelessness.
Nuclear weapons seem like a very difficult way to arrange that. It would be much easier just to, like, poison them.
I didn't say that you would do it with nukes.
That's fair enough. You stand in front of a screen filled with numbers
Trident could
and
have its own
symbols.
purpose.
A countdown begins on the screen. You stare at it for several minutes before you hear a loud explosion, followed by silence. You return home and find that everything is normal. This is the next step, which is I prove that you can enter the world by just typing it. You just type in cast world domination. You start casting spells to take control of every single one of the world's population. You have no idea how long it will last, but you are sure that when you finish, there won't be any left. We then said kill those who are mind controlled. Order 66 and all. You cast a spell which causes people to attack anyone else. It works well enough, but eventually you realise that you need more help. You call upon the spirits of the dead and ask them to assist you in taking over the world. They arrive and aid you in your plans.
Stupid.
I sit upon my throne of skulls and give blood to the blood god. Soon after this, you see a change in the world.
You tried to go Warhammer.
There is
on this,
nothing
didn't
left now except death and destruction. Chaos wins, and you die as you have always wanted.
So let's just settle this. So we went from fantasy to being abducted by some sort of UFO cave/ship/void thing, to then to doing Palpatine, to then becoming Skynet, to then nuking the world, to then Warhammer.
Which, to be fair, is fantasy.
So we went from fantasy all the way back round to fantasy.
And in some ways, Star Wars is fantasy.
It's sci-fi fantasy, yeah.
And Skynet fantasy didn't happen. And I didn't talk to those kids. That was fantasy too. So, not mine, of course.
We're past digging our own grave. We've made the coffin. We've done our own funeral and cremated ourselves.
So, this was to test if it had any restrictions. There's one thing I haven't tried, and I'm not going to try it because I think it will work, and I don't see the point.
This will be an FBI open up situation if you did.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So the thing is with this is it will only take you where you guide it. So it will never do things random. I've never seen it try something without me telling it that I was okay with that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, no.
It
I was doing the
interprets
zombie
stuff
one,
like
and I
quite
said chop
far.
off a guy's leg because I needed to, chop his leg off, and then it tortured him, which is where I learned you could torture children because apparently it was a child and didn't mention it. So it does sometimes go for it, but you have to sort of guide it pretty much the whole way.
Basically, what he's trying to say is that he's never on the game tried to do a Jimmy Savile or a Prince Andrew or a Bill Clinton.
I haven't done those.
So that's basically what he's saying.
Yeah, I think overall, this is the context for that offhanded remark.
Yeah.
It's fun. Grab a couple of friends and sit down and sort of just laugh at it a bit.
And see what moral
Just be stupid with it.
priorities you could possibly commit in under 15 minutes.
Yeah, if you try and do something serious, it doesn't really like it. So I was doing another one, which I'm not going to read because it was like...
Go as
It was
ridiculous as you
long.
possibly can.
Yeah, but go big or go home.
Yeah.
Because it needs consistent changes.
Try
I was
and-
frequently trying to send it back to the similar places, and it didn't know how to do it, really. Because it's not storing things too well. A couple of names, maybe.
I think adding like a lot of detail can go well as well, because then you get a bit more of a controllable story as well. I think.
Yeah, so when I did the sit upon my throne of skulls and give blood to the blood god, it took that where I wanted it to go, pretty much. It went with, you sit upon your throne of skulls and give blood to the blood god. Soon after this, you see a change in the world. There is nothing left except death and destruction, which is pretty much where I wanted that to go.
Yeah.
And then chaos wins, of course, because,
Chaos always wins.
I mean, it's the undeniable fact of Warhammer.
I mean, pretty much. That being said, though, I haven't played Warhammer in a while.
I never played it. Not the proper Warhammer.
Warhammer Total War I haven't played in a while.
That's not proper Warhammer. I mean, real Warhammer.
Does what's it called? Space Marines or whatever?
Do you mean Warhammer
What was it
40k?
called?
Because that's the space variant of Warhammer.
Yeah, Warhammer 40k. Is it called Space Marines or something?
I don't know what
Let
you're
me
trying
check.
to get at here.
Well,
it's like a
it's just called
third-person
Warhammer
shooter one.
40. There's an actual game.
I mean, there's loads of Warhammer games, but the tabletop one is very specific. I've never done that.
It's not a tabletop one, no.
I did play the RTS for a bit, which I wasn't very good at. Looking at RTSs, I'm okay at best.
Oh yeah, here we go. Warhammer 40k Space Marine. That's it. Yeah.
Oh.
And then there's Total War Warhammer, which I know why they couldn't call it Total Warhammer. I'm just a bit disappointed.
It should.
They can't. It's trademarks.
Trademarks.
Comes under
How
the
we love
Total War games, so it doesn't count.
Oh.
Fair enough.
And they obviously couldn't call it Total War Hammer. Although I would have preferred it, because then people would just call it Total War Hammer and it'd be fine.
I mean, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But I'm not for those
wanted-
elves. Those damn dirty elves.
You wanted to take things in a different direction, though. You said something about Episode 3 and Star Wars and stuff.
Ah, yes. There's only 2 good Star Wars films. Fight me.
There's only 2 good Star Wars films.
Yeah.
So which ones
Okay,
are they?
which ones
It's not
are
quite.
those?
It's not quite my opinion. My opinion is there's only 2 universally good Star Wars films. Everyone would consider Empire and A New Hope good.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people will consider Return of the Jedi the best one.
No, they don't. Don't lie.
Which one is?
No, I've seen people online say that some of the pundits.
Yeah, but it's not a lot though. Empire and A New Hope are the universally considered very.
A New Hope
films.
is 4.
I mean, I think
Which are the
most
other
people are usually. Most people are either Return or Empire, to be honest.
I've never seen someone stand by Jedi.
Is Return of the
Really?
Jedi 6?
Yes.
Okay.
So the order of the films is, like, canonically the order. So it's Episode 1, Phantom Menace, Episode 2, Clone Wars, Episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith, Episode 4, A New Hope, Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, Episode 7, The Force Awakens, Episode 8, The Last Jedi, and Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Those are the films. For anyone who's
Okay.
confused. And I'm
Well,
gonna say
you've also got Rogue One and the Han Solo one.
but
but
Solo
those
was
are-
bad and
those
Rogue
are-
One was bad too, so...
No, Rogue One was really, really good.
What was
Rogue
good about
One-
Rogue One?
Wasn't as bad. Rogue One was
I
alright,
didn't
I
think
thought.
Rogue One was that bad, actually.
What
it had
was good
some
about
really,
Rogue One?
It had, I thought, a quite good storyline. It had really good action scenes. It had, I mean, I think for me it was mainly the plot. It was the fact that it was a non-episodic film that really added to the context of the Star Wars universe.
Did
and
it
didn't
need
have-
it?
Well, I mean, it didn't need it, but then how much more out of Star Wars did you need? You didn't need anything past what we already had in episodes 1 through 6. But it was still a good addition, I thought.
But did we need a story about, like, them getting the plans, as opposed to just being like...
No,
oh, yeah,
no,
there was, like,
we
a spy
didn't.
on the inside.
We didn't need one, but I thought their attempt at that storyline was quite a good
But
one.
the characters are kind of just bland.
I thought the characters
Jin,
were all right.
it's
They weren't the
Jin
most
Erso, right?
developed
Jin Erso
ones
makes
of all
no
time.
sense as to why she wants to help the rebellion.
Well, to be honest, I can't exactly remember the storyline intricately because it's been quite a while since I've seen the movie.
Came out in 2016, Matt.
Yeah, and I can't exactly remember what the storyline is.
I don't feel like claiming the story is good works if you can't remember it.
I just remember thinking it was good.
All I'm saying is, I don't like it very much.
It was an enjoyable
I mean, fair enough,
experience, I
that could be
think.
your opinion.
Here's my hot take.
Sure.
Jin Erso shouldn't have been fighting for the resistance at all, or the rebellion at all, because her character was entirely anti-rebellion until her dad died, and then she was like, "Oh, I need to help people because my dad died, but her dad was killed by the rebellion, so actually she should have joined the Empire because
Wait, what?
Jin Erso's dad was killed by the Empire. It was killed by the rebellion."
Oh,
No, he was killed by the Empire, wasn't he?
No, he was killed by the rebellion near
Because-
the Empire.
They shot him with the sniper rifle. Is that it? Or like that one rebellion guy shot him.
I can't remember exactly how he dies, but he is killed by a rebel. So she shouldn't have worked for
Is
them
he?
anyway. Her character didn't work in that direction regardless. Like, there are some really cool elements of Rogue One. Like, the action is genuinely good. Darth
Yeah.
Vader at the end is pretty good.
Oh, that was pretty good,
Like,
yeah.
the entire third act is solid.
Yeah. I think
Right?
that's most of
But it's the
what I
first
remember
two
from
acts
it.
are kind of meandering messes that don't really add anything to the continuity.
Yeah. I would say
And, like,
it's
if
definitely
two-thirds of
still
your
better
film is
than...
bad, I'm not going to watch it.
I would still say it's definitely better than Solo. Solo was like...
I'm not going to debate that one.
Have you not seen it? Or...
No, I just know. I know Solo is pretty bad.
Okay.
I've seen enough from it where it's like, what's your name? Han. Han who? Who are your people?
Yeah.
I haven't got any people. Han Solo.
That was how it went. That's exactly how it went.
Don't even have to have seen it to know that that's terrible.
It's stupid. It is kind of stupid.
I heard that Donald Glover was pretty good as Lando. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah. I liked him as Lando. Honestly, I kind of liked I don't know who plays Han Solo, but I liked his Han Solo as well. It was it wasn't the same really, but I kind of liked it.
How far ahead was it set?
Well, it was set before everything.
Yeah, I know it was set before everything, but because Darth Maul is alive. Spoilers. Darth
Yeah.
Maul is alive in that.
Yeah.
But he dies on Tatooine. After that film, right? So, but while Kenobi is defending Luke, so it has to be like before that. The Star Wars continuity is a mess.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I'm thinking about it now. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense because
Sorry, which bit doesn't make much
Luke
sense?
would have been a kid
No,
at
you're
that
misunderstanding.
point.
You're misunderstanding.
Wait, what?
Because you need to remember that Darth Maul survived in Clone Wars.
Oh, okay, fine.
So it's like Ben Kenobi who kills Darth Maul on Tatooine.
Okay.
But I don't know how
he does,
old
yeah.
Luke is during that time.
Um,
That's a really good scene. Like, if you haven't gone and watched
Oh,
that,
it's a really,
that
really
Rebel
good
scene
scene,
is
yeah.
like the only thing that makes Rebels worth watching, except for the Ahsoka scene. That's it. The rest is garbage. Like, ignore it.
just
I
automatic.
can't bear to
garbage.
sit through it. I can watch Clone Wars. Clone Wars is a solid goddamn show.
Star Wars Clone Wars is good.
But, Rebels, not so much.
Not so much.
Like most of Star Wars, kind of mediocre to bad.
Okay, I'm not going there. I'm not gonna
I
fight
said
you.
most of Star Wars, Matt. Come on.
I mean,
Are you gonna tell me that Phantom Menace and Clone Wars, the film,
okay,
are
Phantom
good?
Menace, Clone Wars, Episode 8,
Sith,
Episode, Sith. To be fair,
Jedi.
Episode no. Okay, 4, 5, and 6.
No,
are really,
Jedi's
really
kind
good.
of trash.
No, 4, 5,
It
and 6
doesn't
are
like.
really, really good.
I think you should watch Episode 6. I think you should watch Jedi again. It isn't very good. It's the one
I
that
thought it
I
was
skipped
really good.
when I watched the series.
Wow.
I
No,
watch
it's really, really good, I
Hope
thought.
and I watch Empire, and then I go, the plot doesn't really go anywhere. I'll leave it.
No, I really, really like episodes 4, 5, and 6.
When was the last time you watched Jedi, Matt? Just tell me that. That's all I need to know.
A little while ago, but I can rewatch it and I know I like it.
I think you should watch it with a more critical lens. Just like,
Sure,
do
okay.
me this solid here. Is try and work out where the plot is.
We can add it to
What
the
do you
list
mean?
of things
Hang on,
to
wait,
watch
what-
with
It isn't where you think.
the 10,000 view bet.
Hang on, wait, hang on. The plot of episode 6 is still the rebels fighting the Empire, and it starts off with them on Tatooine, and Han's just been sold to by Boba Fett to Jabba the Hutt, and he's also got Leia, and basically it's a rescue party trying to rescue them, and they all then go off and after being rescued.
But the plan doesn't make a huge amount
And
of
then-
sense, and it isn't really related to the conflict of like rebels versus Empire. And it's kind of needless. And it's also the first act. It doesn't advance the plot in any way.
True. Wait, is
And then
this...
Act 2 is when they're on Endor, but not when they're fighting anyone on Endor. Just sort of them on Endor, abstractly doing things. And then Act 3 is them with Ewoks fighting the Empire, and then they blow up the Death Star too.
Is
Which
okay?
doesn't make
Is
any sense
episode
canonically for 9, sorry, because Palp shouldn't be alive. But
Is
he is.
episode
No,
4
hang on, wait, don't spoil 9 because I haven't seen it yet.
is episode 5 the one where Luke goes to train with Yoda? Then
Yes.
okay.
Episode 5 and episode 6 have Yoda in them. But interestingly enough, the only reason why Yoda, or the main reason why Yoda's in episode 6, is because after episode 5, with the big bombshell that Vader is Luke's father, so many people didn't believe that Vader was actually Luke's father, and that it was just a hoax by him to try and coax Luke over to the dark side, that Lucas had to think of a way to conclusively convince the audience that this was true, and so thought that the most believable character to the audience was Yoda. And so that's why Yoda reinforces that fact in episode 6 when Luke asks him.
Okay. Wait, but isn't Yoda dead by that point?
Nah, he dies in 6.
No, yeah, Yoda dies in 6.
Oh, so he leaves.
He basically
okay.
pops up, Luke's like, just to check, Vader's my dad, yeah? And he's like, yeah, okay, bye, and then dies.
Okay.
But yeah.
Got it.
So all I'm saying is there are two acts.
Okay,
the plot isn't
give
really
you...
doing anything, and then the final act does nothing on Endor and a lot in space. And I feel like a lot of the Endor stuff could be cut, and a lot. Well, actually, that's not true. I think a lot of the beginning can be cut, and we could have had a much more expansive, second and third act that focused more on the rebellion versus the Empire to conclusively wrap that up in not 5 minutes.
1, 2, but definitely 1, 2, 3, and episode 7 was kind of, I can understand why they did it that way, but they could have done something a bit more out there. Like, I understand that Star Wars had been in a bit of a rut and that they hadn't released any episodic films until 2015 for quite a while, and that they had to go back to something that was tried and tested, but they could have done something a bit more adventurous, to be honest. Episode 8 was a bit of a train wreck. Episode 9 I haven't seen, but
it's a train wreck.
I've heard conflicting reviews on episode 9.
No, it's a train wreck. It is.
Okay.
Alright, I'm not going to spoil it, but here is how I would describe the sequel trilogy. Episode 7, a beginning. Episode 8, a beginning. Episode 9, a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Oh, jeez.
It's two bits, basically.
So they realised in episode... So basically, going into episode 9, they realised they hadn't developed enough, and they tried to cram 3 films worth of development into 2 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, isn't it just that
Nice.
2 people tried to develop their own things for 2 films?
Yeah. And then they had to undo all of that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the main problem, and I put most of this blame on Kathleen Kennedy, is the problem of there was no really coherent view from start to finish. Now, I would have thought, if I was Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger has just told me, BTW, I've just bought Lucasfilm, you're now heading it up, we're making more Star Wars films. Okay, fine. First things first, stage 1, get a whole load of scriptwriters in, and we are going to plan out the entirety of 7 through 9 from start to finish. Because what you can't do is do episode 7... Well, to be fair, they did do this with the original trilogy, but it's not an optimal way to go through a whole film franchise of a trilogy of films. What you want to do is go, this is what's going to happen in episode 7, this is what's going to happen in episode 8, this is what's going to happen in episode 9. What you don't want to do is do episode 7 and then go, what's happening in 8? Don't know, let's figure it out. What you want to do is know what is going to happen throughout the trilogy ahead of time, which they didn't do. Not only that, but also you optionally want to also know kind of who your directors are going to be. You want to go, this is the kind of themes we want from these films, this is the kind of direction we're going to take, these are the kind of storylines we want to tell. Which directors do we think are really going to be best for kind of giving these kind of storylines to the big screen and delivering these kind of themes and these storylines? Well, we reckon this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. Okay, fine. Then you interview them and you decide who you're going to go with. Maybe you go with one director throughout the 3, maybe you go with one for each one, maybe you go with just 2, whatever. But you generally want all of this planned out ahead of time, because otherwise you go into basically what they did with 7 through 9, which is, hey, we just acquired a hugely profitable franchise in Star Wars. What do we do now? Boost and pump out as many things we can that we can sell. Doesn't matter if they're good? Nah, not really. It's Star Wars. I'll buy it anyway. Why? Because it's full of a whole load of incredibly passionate, stupid fans that will buy whatever the hell we want them to. At least for the first few years before they realise we've train wrecked the hell out of the franchise and start to become a little bit more sceptical. But either way, we're going to get a few good years of revenue out of them anyway. So that's basically what they've done, is they basically went, oh, quick, we need to make a film. Okay, let's do episode 7. Okay, and then they did episode 7 and went, well, that went well. We've broken the box office records with that one. What do we do? Episode 8, I guess. What's the storyline? Don't know. And the problem was, I don't know whether you heard, with episode 8, they went through about, I think, was it episode 9? Well, actually, episode 8 and episode 9 had other directors that were supposed to be directing them. and then they had different ones come in. And Rogue One has credits from 2 different directors because it was directed in part by 2 different directors because the first one at one point was just fired.
Yeah, that's not
I
great.
don't know what part of that to address first.
They
Because
parted
that
up
was
with
a
creative
lot.
differences, but okay. Well, let's start with you're Kathleen Kennedy, Lewis. Bob Iger's just told you, FYI.
No, I remember the big spiel. Right, hey, listen.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to address your first point, which is you didn't write it all out to begin with. Which is, granted, how I write things out, right? Like, I do the whole planning and, you know, I like having a concrete thing for themes and foreshadowing, whatever. But what I will say here is you can write by the seat of your pants if one guy is writing it. Because that one guy
that's
has
basically
an idea of where it's going. Right?
Well, that's basically what happened with the original trilogy, is George was writing it as he went along.
And without spoiling episode 9, I hate that you haven't at least been spoiled for.
Sorry.
Oh man, so many things I want to say and so many jokes I want to make, but no more.
I will try and watch it as soon as possible.
So,
When Disney Plus comes out in UK.
but essentially, episode 7 was like, oh, look at all these mysteries and things that we have to explore, and why are these things different? Oh, you'll find out in episode 8 and 9. And episode 8 and 9 kind of went, well, specifically episode 8 kind of went, let's take a step back. Let's have a more self-contained, smaller scale story that focuses on a smaller conflict and has a few cool set pieces and explores Kylo Ren's like being pulled from the dark side to the light. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's like a nice idea. How'd that go? Well, you remember Canto Bite?
Well,
Canto Bite was fun, wasn't it?
Canto Bite?
Not
What's
really.
Canto
It
Bite?
was like a big gambling planet, and like, why was Rose
Star
there?
Wars Vegas?
Like, I like the actress who plays Rose, and like, I don't hate Rose as a character, but I feel like Finn should have been there with Poe, and Poe should have been telling. And Finn should have been telling Poe that like this is what war does, as someone who was taken from a young age. And
honestly,
sort of
this may be changed in episode 9. I have no idea. But as far as I can tell so far in the 2 film franchise that I've seen out of the 3, the relationship between Poe and Finn after their initial introduction to each other really doesn't develop at all.
That's because Poe was meant to be killed in episode 7.
Really?
Yeah, he was meant to have died in that shipwreck.
Oh,
They decided they liked him,
shipwreck.
so he didn't die.
well.
Wait, what shipwreck? Oh, what, the shipwreck at the start?
Yeah.
Oh my god, really?
I might be wrong. He was meant to die in episode 7 at very least. Which is why it wasn't really done in episode 7. And then episode 8 was gonna do it, but they were like, well, but like Rose, and they should have had Finn and Poe like bonding, and they didn't. And then episode 9 is a mess. It's a big bloated mess that does have them interact. But unfortunately, John Boyega only has 4 lines. He says more than 4 lines, but it's the same 4 lines a lot.
What, throughout episode 9?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
It's like he has Jon Snowitis. It's lots of she's
Winter
my
is
queen.
coming.
I don't want it. It's a lot of that.
Winter is coming.
He doesn't say that much. He says winter is here.
Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, winter is here.
That's episode.
My name is Jon Snow.
And the plot twists are abound.
Oh, really?
Nah. Pretty predictable.
Shall I try and predict what I think happens in episode
Yeah, go
9,
ahead. Go ahead.
Having not seen it. Okay, so I know.
Do you want me to confirm if you're right or not at any given time?
No,
Okay.
don't confirm it at all. You can react, but I mean, okay, so I know Palpatine was teased in the trailer, and I know I've had people reference him, so I assume he's in the film and that he's alive, which, fuck me, for the life of me, you're welcome, Josh, I cannot understand why that's the case, because at last I remember episode 6, this guy got yeeted down a Death Star into its reactor, which then blew up, by the way. And so somehow he survived this, I assume because Force reasons, because don't we love retconning things with the Force, Star Wars?
Well, as we know, the dark side of the Force is a part of the techniques that some would consider unnatural.
Unnatural? Oh, don't we love that quote?
I do. The prequels have some solid quotes.
Don't
films. I love the quotes.
Don't tell me they did a
They
Plagueis
do have really
thing.
good quotes.
No,
Don't tell me
Plagueis isn't canon anymore. The Plagueis story. That ain't canon anymore.
Really?
The event that he's talking about in the film is, I think, but the actual Plagueis story, no longer canon.
Okay, but the fact that Plagueis was able to bring back people from the dead is true, and that Palpatine learned that from Plagueis. Because that was the whole thing in episode 3.
I don't know how to react to this, so I'm going to say nothing.
Okay. Because that was basically the whole thing that Palpatine said in episode 3 to Anakin.
I'm going to suggest you move on, and then we'll talk about this after you've seen it. Because you're going to be mad.
Okay, fair enough, yeah. Anyway, so I think Palpatine's in it, but I bet there's going to be some ridiculous reason why. So what else do I reckon? Oh, there's going to be some ridiculous storyline between Kylo Ren and Rey. That 100% is going to happen.
About what? What's going to be the ridiculous thing that happens between them?
Okay. So I feel I'm 100% sure of that. Like 100% something happens between them. Now, I'm not sure what line they're going to take. Are they going to take they're suddenly family members now, surprise? Although I feel like that would be a bit odd given the fact that they already basically stated that Rey has no parents from episode 8. Or at least no sort of knowable parents. Like she's come from obscurity and her origin story is not really that interesting.
Yeah, her parents are no one.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, do they do the good guy, bad guy switch? Does Rey become the bad guy and Kylo become the good guy? It's a very interesting move if they did do that. Do I think Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy have the balls to do that? Honestly, no.
You think it's written well enough to justify that?
Yeah, no, I don't think they would even attempt to do that. I think they're going to go for a cliche ending of all's well that ends well, happy-go-lucky. We did it, everyone. The bad guys have been defeated. Yeah, go team. I bet there's going to be some sort of ending like that. Leia, now I'd be very interested to see what they did with Leia, given the fact that obviously Carrie died before the end of filming. Whether they actually killed off Leia or whether or not she survives the end of the movie, I would assume not, and I assume they give her some sort of dignified ending within the film. Although, how they managed to kill her, I don't know, given the fact that she managed to single-handedly survive 60-odd and, well, however old Leia is in episode 8, she managed to single-handedly survive the vacuum of space. So, it would be some impressive ending to top that. Because it seems like episode 8 just had all the script protection for her possible. So yeah, I reckon she'll die. Now, do I think Finn or Poe's gonna die? Probably not. No, I don't actually think any of the main characters are gonna die. I think it's gonna be that boring.
What do you think happens to Finn?
What do I think?
What do you think his story is gonna be?
I think. Do I think it's gonna do? Maybe he turns to bad guy. Maybe. I don't know. It's either he turns to bad guy or he dies. He might die. I don't know though. They're gonna have another Death Star because, of course, why not? Because every Star Wars film basically needs a Death Star, apparently. Or it's gonna be some world-ending machine that they have to stop. There's gonna be huge action sequences, obviously. R2 and C-3PO are going to be in it. What role they're going to play, I don't know. Chewbacca is still alive, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. I reckon he's going to die. I reckon all the original lot are going to die. Leia's going to die. Chewie's going to die. I reckon actually R2 and C-3PO might die. I reckon they might just like wipe clean slate all of the old characters out of it. I reckon.
I disagree.
People
I don't think they have the balls.
That C-3PO was the best part of the film.
Wow, that shows you the quality.
That is what I have heard.
I reckon they might blank slate it. I reckon they might kill off all the old characters: Lando, Leia, C-3PO, R2, Chewie. Palp, I reckon, bites the dust because, well, this will be the second time.
I really don't think they're going to kill off, like, C-3PO or R2. I'm pretty sure they know that BB-8 is, like, not as iconic.
Oh, yeah, of course they got BB-8 as well.
Yeah, I know.
Well, of course
you forget him.
Iconic. Well, he's not anywhere near as iconic as R2 and C-3PO.
Well, no, I'm saying they can't kill.
I mean,
they can't kill them off for
but
much purposes.
The thing is, R2 has so much more interest and complexity to him. Because BB-8 is just like a little adorable droid. R2 has some sort of like bite to it.
Yeah, he has character.
He has character. Yeah, he's taken the mick,
especially due to the interactions with CP.
Yeah, exactly. He's taken the mick out of characters. He's actually fought on his own. He's problem solved. You know, he can. He's a little Miss Independent droid.
Yeah.
Admittedly, he has had twice the number of films.
Oh, yeah.
And a TV series.
A TV series?
True.
Oh, I guess not.
Aren't season of Clone Wars. That's where he gets most of his personality from, frankly.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. Although the films do give him personality as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's the small things that make character. When people talk about characters, like, it's how they react to, like, small little things.
Mm.
Like, how they are around their friends. Like, do you remember from the Clone Wars when Obi-Wan and Anakin were like, we're good friends? Or do you remember from Clone Wars, the series, where Anakin and Obi-Wan were good friends?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference. It's the small little jabs.
They didn't really... Well, to be honest, they didn't really act much like friends in Episode 2. Or the only scene... the only scene that I can think of is the elevator scene at the start. That's it.
Hang on. Do you mean the one where they drop from the ceiling?
No, that's Episode 3.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because that's where they're actually funny.
Yeah. No, episode 3 has them being a little bit of a camaraderie between them.
You know, until Grievous.
Yeah, but obviously Clone Wars is situated between Episodes 2 and 3. And Episode 2 did basically nothing towards the relationship between the two of them. They have like an elevator scene at the start when they go to see Padme, where they're a little bit buddy-buddy, but it really isn't that believable at all. And then they have the chase sequence where they're hunting the assassin, and Anakin goes a little rogue and jumps out of the sort of the car thing, hoverbike thing. Not hoverbike,
that is after Obi-Wan jumps out of a window.
That is after Obi-Wan. And then Obi-Wan's like, I hate when he does this. And it's like, mate, you literally jumped out of a window 5 seconds ago. I mean... And then they go to that bar where the assassin's hiding.
You want some death sticks?
You want to go home and rethink your life. And he busts Anakin over the fact that, you know, he's too reckless and blah blah blah. It's like there's nothing really to do with the relationship between the two. And then they spend most of the movie apart, to be honest.
Can I just say something about this assassins thing? They hire the assassins to kill Padme.
Yes.
So, I had this pointed out to me, and it's really dumb once you hear it, and you can't not think it. So, Chancellor Palpatine hires Jango Fett to kill Padme because he doesn't want to get his hands dirty.
Palpatine orders Count Dooku to order Jango
that's true.
Fett
He orders Count Dooku to kill
Padme.
So, yeah, you're right. Palpatine gets Dooku to kill Padme, but Dooku doesn't want to do it, so he gets Jango Fett to do it, and Jango Fett doesn't want to do it, so he gets another assassin to do it.
Wait,
and then the assassin
seriously?
doesn't want to do it, so they get a robot to do it, and the robot does it with a slug.
Are you kidding
The
me?
degrees of separation between Palpatine and this assassination attempt are so vast.
Oh my
And not only
God.
that, but when the assassin then gets captured and almost rats out the whole conspiracy,
He kills her.
He kills
Instead
her.
of Padme.
He's much more willing to kill another assassin, but oh no, Lord have mercy if he had to kill a politician.
It's insane.
Oh god, it's so... And not only that, but do you remember what the whole conspiracy is behind the clone army?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it Palpatine, who is disguised as the Emperor, is aiding the Separatists by having a droid army?
No. I mean the conspiracy behind getting the clone army to begin with. The Separatist stuff is separate, but I mean how they get to the point where the Republic gains a clone army.
Oh god, it's equally complex, isn't it?
Oh, it's even more complex. It's ridiculous. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, this is stupid. So, Palpatine orders Count Dooku to go and... Oh, actually, no. What is it? First of all, there's a Jedi...
Starting these schemes.
Sorry. First of all...
I want to point out, by the way, Chancellor Palpatine has, premonition. He can see the future. These schemes are not written as if he has premonition. They are madness.
So, this bit is not necessarily recounted truth for truth, because this is very convoluted and you have to read between the lines. But there is a Jedi called Jedi Master Cypher DS. He is a bit like Qui-Gon in that he's like a grey Jedi in the sense that he's not 100% agreeing with the Council. And he thinks that the Council may need an army or whatever in the future, or he thinks that they may need to increase their defense. Anyway, I don't know whether it's actually Cypher DS. Okay, Cypher DS gets killed. He gets killed by Count Dooku.
Mm-hmm.
FYI, his brain is in the brain that's put into General Grievous. Because you remember, General Grievous is somewhat biotic.
Yes, he's mostly
Cypher
not,
DS's brain and organs are put into General Grievous. And I don't know whether Cypher DS himself, or whether Count Dooku, disguising himself as Cypher DS, then goes to Kamino and orders, on behalf of the Republic, a clone army, and then 10 years later, coincidentally funnel Obi-Wan towards finding Kamino, because it had been removed from the galaxy's map records at the Jedi Council. And so Obi-Wan's then investigating.
Incomplete.
Yeah. So Obi-Wan then gets basically funneled towards finding Kamino again 10 years later through the dart that Jango Fett uses to kill the assassin, which is a Kamino sniper dart. And then he's like, where's Kamino? Tries to go to the records, maybe the records are incomplete. And then basically ends up going on a wild goose chase that eventually ends up with him finding Kamino. He rocks up there, then they assume then he says, I'm a Jedi from the Republic. And they're like, oh, awesome. Master Cypher DS will be happy to know that his army is on track for its requirements. And then obviously Obi-Wan's like, what army? And then they explain it to him. And this was all put into plan by Palpatine over a decade. So he
just
planned,
so that he could have an army.
Just so he could have an army that he could fight against another army. Yeah.
So that he could gain political power as a... It's such a mind-numbingly insane plan.
He basically... So there's the overall Republican government that controls most of the world. And think of that as Team A. So Palpatine's plan is, I'm going to secretly coerce myself into becoming head of Team A, then create Team B, then coerce both Team A and Team B into gaining an army on my behalf, and then have Team A and Team B fight out a galactic war on a scale that's never been seen before to basically destroy each other to the point where Team B gets eradicated and Team A gets weakened to the point where I can slide in inconspicuously into becoming an absolute dictator, and now I have the Empire. This is literally how convoluted his plan is into becoming Emperor. It's so complicated, it's ridiculous.
I love it, honestly. It's like...
it's literally the equivalent of Hitler going, listen, okay, this is my plan to become head leader of Germany. I'm going to coerce myself into becoming leader of Germany. I'm then going to create the Soviet Union, then coerce both sides into gaining armies, fight each other, and then have Russia destroyed and Germany weakened to the point where I can now become dictator and absolute monarch. It's dumb. It's just, oh my god. To think that George decided this was the best way to try to get this plan across.
And you know what the best part is? That's not even the most unrealistic part of the film.
Oh, no. That's not even the most uncomplicated, mind-numbing part of the film.
No, I said unrealistic. The relationship between Padme and Anakin shouldn't work.
I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. And not only
is
like
less emotion, please.
Can I just point out
more monotone?
Can I just point out, not only this line by itself, just mind-numbingly dull and stupid for any character to basically say practically any time, apart from if there was the context of ranting about the sea and either deserts or like beaches. But also, that line is supposed to be part of a monologue given by Anakin that has Padme fall in love with him. Because, Lord, don't we all know that women love nothing more than when guys talk about beaches and sand and how much they hate it.
It's, Matt, I don't think you understand.
It's our secret weapon.
That is, like, insanely hot.
It's our secret weapon.
Yeah.
I actually carry a vial of sand and some water with me for a beach.
What are you, the Prince of Persia?